when you're finished with your, if I scroll up top here, when you're finished with your ringtone, the next two projects here are the MIDI Project 1 and MIDI Project 2. They're very similar, but it's to get you used to playing the keyboard and doing stuff in rhythm and on the beat. You expand MIDI Project 1, the video is what we're doing right now. The MIDI direction sheet, this is what we're going to be following. Guys, just like before, these directions are very, very specific. You follow them step by step, it'll work very easily for you. If you try and skip a step, especially up here in the beginning, you skip something, by the time you come later on, something won't work. You can't skip directions. Do not try and do it from memory. Make sure you follow them step by step. So, for the directions, it tells us to open up Mixcraft 7, select all apps and stuff. So I'm going to be opening up Mixcraft 7. I'm not going to keep flipping back and forth. The directions tell me to turn the audio tracks to 0, turn instrument tracks to 3, because we need 3. We need a bass, a percussion, and a melody. We were at time for the ringtones. I need to switch that over to beats. Make sure your snap setting is at 1/8 if you haven't done that already. Then we hit OK. Now, once it comes up, your piano, when you go to play it, if you arm track 1, when you go to play it, it's not going to play right away. To make sure it plays like this one does right away, you go to File, you go down to Preferences, and when the preference window pops up, you want to be on this very top one, the sound device. Yours is going to be on Wave. Change it from Wave to ASIO. That's what works best for you. Mine's on this here because I'm doing a voice recording right now with the mic, so that's why I'm on this one. But yours should be the middle one. Change it to ASIO. That way, as soon as you play a note, it records it. So, I arm track 1. The reason I arm tracked 1 is we have 3 different tracks. When we actually play and we hit the record button down here, it has to know which one of these 3 to record on. I arm track 1. So, on my directions here, I skip down to here, and it tells you, on track 1, click on the piano keys to choose the instrument. Once the instrument pops up, choose any percussion. Okay, so we go back, we hit the piano, that's our change instrument. Here's my instruments. I'm going to slide down until I find percussion. Now, guys, I have all these different percussion instruments. You can do any one of these instruments. It doesn't matter to me. You want to just start up here at the top and go, okay, you know what? Whoops, that's piano. All right, I want studio percussion. And as soon as I do that, that's the sound I want. Great. If that works for you, that's fine. Some other people are going to want pitch drums. They're going to want regular drums. Okay, no, I want a time drum. Whatever you want. All you got to do is hit the X. That'll cut it down. And you'll still have the same sound. Now, when we record, it says you need to click the arm button in track 1, which is what I did to make it red. You're going to click the red circle at the bottom and record 1 drum beat for every beat for 12 measures. 48 beats total. So 1 drum beat every time. Now, if I hit the record, you're going to hear the metronome. Listen. Every time you hear that, you are going to record. Now, notice it did 4 beats before it started to move. Those directions, how to set that up, are in the proper setup directions online. So I rewind it. Every time I hear that click, I'm going to play a percussion note. So here we go. Now some of you will be able to do this perfectly. Some people are going to make some mistakes. If you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. You don't have to go fix the whole thing. You can fix just what you made a mistake on. So if I come up here to this measure and all of a sudden, I stop. Now I made a mistake, but I can't see it from up here. So I'm going to double click on this and it's going to bring up my sound. Make sure you're not on piano. Make sure you switch to score. You select your arrow and then you can start to choose. Now right away I made a mistake. I hit 2 notes as I was trying to slide over. So I can get rid of that. I'm going to have to record that 1 note. But then I notice that all these notes are on the beat, and then there's a rest. On the beat, then a rest. On the beat, then a rest. If I go all the way to measure 11, though, somewhere here. All right, here's a bunch of mistakes. Now, because of these mistakes, I can redo the whole thing. Or better yet, erase this. so that all of this disappears. And measure 11 needs to be fixed. All right, let's put my metronome starting point at 10. And when it reaches 11, I'm going to play those 4 beats. So watch. So it's playing. Now I play. Then it plays. Now I have my notes, but they're not together. The directions tell me how to highlight this and get it to combine. Now if I go out there to measure 11, look, I'm on the beat every time. I forgot to record the very first beat, but that's something you'd also want to do. The fact that it's half as big, does that matter? Not at all, guys. That just means you recorded. Now the directions, if I take a look, that's my percussion. My directions then tell me to go on to track 2 for the blues bass line. Disarm track 1 and arm track 2. Guys, the reason this is important, if you don't disarm track 1 and arm this one, and they're both armed, whatever you record is going to mess up this track. Because we're going to rewind to the beginning and we're going to record this track. Now, I don't want to hear this one, so I'm going to mute it also. So I only hear this. As far as what percussion to play, what notes, if I skip down here to show you, the following in red and yellow is exactly what you play. Take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 C's in a row. All on the beat. Now, if you look up on the board there, to the right on the wall is your piano keyboard. The notes that are in red, those are your bass notes. Now, if you notice, there's 2 C's. Which C do you play? It's your choice. You can play either C. The next notes on the thing here say that it's F's. Which F do you use? Again, it's up to you. Completely your choice. That keyboard up on the wall is exactly the same as yours. So we got 8 F's, or I'm sorry, 8 C's. We're going to go ahead and record that. We got this, we're ready, we rewind, and we start to play. So I play my C's. Now I'm going to stop it. Now one of the things that I forgot to do was switch this from piano to a bass sound. So I'm just going to go over here, choose a bass sound, and say, okay, no, I want it to be a fingered bass instead. So now when it plays, it's playing the correct thing. Well, I got my F's, my C's. Now it's time for my F's, and then I can record the rest of the project. So I'll back it up and measure. I'll get ready to record. Now it starts to move. Then I continue. And I'm just going to continue on. Now people always ask, should both the track 1 and track 2 end at the same time? Yes, it should end the same time as far as your notes. Take a look. This note is here. This note is here. However, this doesn't match up. Guys, the very end doesn't matter. That's how long it took me to hit the stop bar the first time. This is how long it took me to stop at the second. This is what's important. Now, we got to match these notes up. So again, we highlight, we put it all together. And all of a sudden, it looks like notes disappear. Measure 5 and 6, there's no notes. Yes, there are. If I come down here to measure 5 and 6, look, there's my notes. 5 and 6 are there. It just doesn't show up here. That's why I don't grade from this. Next, we mute that one. We disarm it. We arm the final track. For the instrument, you can choose any instrument you want. I don't care. It's completely up to you. The directions tell us to play our blues bass notes. C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat. Again, up on the wall next to the smartboard there. The notes you're going to play are in blue. So now we got the C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, and then C. And you have 3 octaves. Or the last one. Any one of those octaves you may use, and it doesn't have to be on the beat. It's a creative rhythm. Be creative. Mix up the notes and rhythm. So, let's go back here. Rewind to the beginning. I'll just keep the piano for now to keep it simple. And I want to play my notes. That's on the beat. Does it have to be on the beat? No. When you're done, and I just stopped because you'd keep recording the whole time. But when you're done, you unmute everything. And when you rewind it and play, you have your song. Notice these should be together. This does not have to be. When you're done, you save this. You do a file, save as. You save it to your seat folder. You do not have to mix this down to an MP3 because I want to see the actual notes when I grade this. So you would just simply save this. Any questions?